not at all surprised Trump said that negative stories about him should be illegal. You are? Have you been living under a rock? Because in the Oval Office today, while sitting behind the Resolute desk, he said that he feels negative stories about him should be illegal because the government gives the networks free airwaves. So in return, they should be nicer to him. Here's the thing though. Negative stories, he claims upwards of 97% of the stories published about him are negative. Guess what? Covered by the First Amendment. Criticism is exactly why the founders put freedom of speech and freedom of the press in the very First Amendment of the United States Constitution, because that is the first thing autocrats, authoritarians want to take away, whether they be monarchies or presidents or whatever system of government you have. Okay? When you have an authoritarian ruler in place, they want to quash criticism. They want to quash critique. And our founders found it so critical that they put that in the First Amendment of the Constitution in the Bill of Rights. And this one, this tangerine buffoon, thinks that because the TV networks get free airwaves, they should be nice to him. Well, sweetheart, if 97% of the stories out there are negative against you, there's a reason. It's because you are a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad human being, allegedly.
I think Netanyahu is blackmailing Trump. It could be about the Epstein list or maybe some other crime that Trump has committed, but I'm pretty sure that some sort of weird shit is going on behind the scenes that we don't know about as a general public. While the US has a strong history of supporting Israel with providing weapons and other arms, this goes beyond what we have seen because consistently supporting Israel has become less and less popular with the American people. And this rating dropped even further after the UN declared that there's a genocide happening in Palestine, which obviously we've known this. The issue here and what I'm not understanding is why Trump would consistently back Netanyahu and insist on Hamas terrorizing everybody when there is quite literally no benefit to the US. There has to be some personal benefit to Trump to continue this relationship because that is how he operates. He will throw anyone and everyone under the bus, probably including the country, if he can further his own interests and not end up in prison. And allegedly some information came out about an Israeli spy saying exactly what I'm saying now. Take it with a grain of salt, but regardless, I do think it's weird.
Breaking news. Donald Trump, the White House, Mike Johnson, and the Republicans are putting incredible pressure on the 4 Republicans to take their signatures off the Jeffrey Epstein discharge petition. What? Yes, it's being now reported in CNN, as I know it has been, that they are doing everything they possibly can do to try to get Thomas Massie, to try to get Nancy Mace of South Carolina, to try to get Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, and try to get Lauren Boebert of Colorado to take their signatures off the discharge petition so that they can stop it. They do not want those files to become public because you know who in the White House's name is all over those files. And no telling what other rich, powerful men are in those files that they're trying to protect. And that's it. That's why they have not sworn in Adelita Drahova from Arizona in, because she's going to sign it. And that would be the 218th signature. They need to force it. That's why they've not sworn her in today. Like I said, this is breaking in CNN now. I already did videos on this earlier, but it's breaking as we speak. And they are trying to prevent or trying to get one of those Republicans to take their signature off. So we'll see whether they do the right thing, whether they'll protect the pedos and the perverts and probably somebody at the top of the White House. What do you think? Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, my burned out light bulbs. We need Thomas Massie, Nancy Mace, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Lauren Boebert not to crack under the pressure and do the right thing. But you know and I know, if they're trying to get them to stop it, you know whose name is all over those files. Love to hear from you.
We have breaking news. Former FBI Director James Comey could face a federal indictment in the coming days. This is according to a just released article by CNN. We are quickly approaching the deadline of September 30th. That's next Tuesday to file charges against Comey for allegedly lying to Congress. Now, this is with a federal grand jury, and if they were to approve the case by next week, it would mark one of the highest profile indictments of a political figure during this second term of Trumpelstiltskin. And we all saw this. The now deleted post from Truth Social from Trumpelstiltskin That should have probably been a text message to Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, saying, where are these charges? Where are they? What about Comey? Adam Shifty shipped? Letitia? And he goes on to talk about the now resigned attorney, federal U.S. attorney from Virginia. Now, this man resigned because he refused to press charges against Letitia James. Now, with this latest report from CNN, it looks like charges could be incoming for James Comey, who's become a noted critic of Trump and a target of his for quite some time. We are going to have to watch this very carefully, as now he does seem to be going after his opponents or political enemies. Stay tuned for more updates.
So Trump is coming after the freedom of speech, the First Amendment. Trump is coming after Comey, the former FBI director. And again, Trump is asking Republicans not to release the Epstein files. Yes, so the Epstein files will not be released, so that really we can see if he was an FBI informer, as he claims, or if he was one of them. I don't know. So why don't they want these files to be released? Because that was in his campaign trail. He said once he get to the office, first he will release the Kennedy assassination details, whatever the reports, the classified reports, he will declassify them. And then again, these are Epstein list, and even Pam Bondi and the likes of Kash Patel, they claim that these files are on their desk. But what we got is redacted files, redacted, they were all redacted. So the Congress wanted to vote to release these files, but Trump said that this will go against the administration. So they had to remove their signatures. I don't know why.
Let's talk about the Donald Trump broken escalator situation. Because when Trump arrived at the UN yesterday, he and the First Lady went to step on the escalator and boom, it froze. Of course, as Mitch Hedberg pointed out back in the day, an escalator can't break, it just can become stairs. And so they just ended up walking up, though it outraged a lot of people, including Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who wrote, if someone at the UN intentionally stopped the escalator as the President and First Lady were stepping on, they need to be fired and investigated immediately. They're then sharing a screenshot from a UK newspaper claiming that UN staff members had previously joked about turning the escalator off on him and saying they ran out of money. With that said, reportedly right now, there is no evidence supporting that they actually did this. But still, Leavitt had more shit to talk about with this escalator, as well as the teleprompter glitch that Trump dealt with during his speech.
First it was the escalator, then it was the teleprompter, and then Katie Pavlich from Town Hall, who we offered a seat in the press pool to cover the president's historic speech today, noticed that the audio inside of the room was much lower and different for the president of the United States than the previous speaker. So when you put all of this together, it doesn't look like a coincidence to me. And I know that we have people, including the United States Secret Service, who are looking into this to try to get to the bottom of it. And if we find that these were UN staffers who were purposefully trying to literally trip up the president and the First Lady of the United States, well, there better be accountability for those people.
Right, and Leavitt was not alone here, especially with the Fox News crowd.
They sabotaged him.
Yeah.
And they could have hurt the First Lady.
Yeah.
Trump would have fallen and he would have gotten back up. I mean, this is an insurrection. And what we need to do is either leave the UN or we need to bomb it. It is in New York, though, right?
Yeah,
there could be some fallout there.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe gas it?
No.
Let's not do
Don't
that.
gas it. Okay.
He's
But we
kidding,
need to
he's
destroy it. Maybe just, can we demolish the building? No, this is absolutely unacceptable, and I hope they get to the bottom of it.
And then as far as what actually happened, right, why did the escalator stop? Well, the UN, they looked into it, and in a Knives Out plot twist, they found that the culprit may have actually been close to Trump's circle and acted in plain sight. Or with a statement pointing to a videographer who was filming the US delegation because he got on the escalator right before Trump and Melania, and they explained, a subsequent investigation, including a readout of the machine's central processing unit, indicated that the escalator had stopped after a built-in safety mechanism on the comb step was triggered at the top of the escalator. The safety mechanism is designed to prevent people or objects accidentally being caught and stuck in or pulled into the gearing. The videographer may have inadvertently triggered the safety function. And if you look at the video of the whole thing, you can see a videographer filming them. You can't see his feet or what he's stepping on, but he was walking backwards rather quickly. Right? And then as far as the teleprompter error, you had the UN telling CBS News that the White House was actually operating the prompter. And so for now...
Well, unfortunately for Alpharetta and Georgia at large, Deborah Shigley did lose her election last night. However, Last November, that election went 35 points for the king. And last night, it swung 13 points to the left. So while she did lose, we gained 13 points in just 9 months. And there was another special election in Arizona last night for a U.S. congressional seat, which the Dems handily took home. And now we're going to be able to get to that 218 signatures we need to release the files. So overall positive.
Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
She was right about everything. Trump literally just pulled us back from NATO. Pentagon just informed European diplomats that the United States will partially halt military assistance to the Baltic nations and NATO states.
Sweet baby Jesus, that man got up in front of the United Nations General Assembly, demanded the Nobel Peace Prize, and then complained how he didn't get the contract to redo the United Nations back in the day, all while referring to himself in the third person. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the President of the United States, who I call the Tangerine Menace, and today he was a menace to the world. I mean, when isn't he really? But he literally got up there, rambled on like Peepaw who forgot to take his meds, and complained that the United Nations didn't want to look like a tacky-ass third-rate casino back in the day. That was the correct choice. Dignified, understated. I'm glad you went the way you did, UN. But back to the whole Nobel Peace Prize, that is the one thing that is going to stick in that man's craw until the day he finally kicks it and goes meet Sky Daddy. Because, you know, he cannot stand the fact that Barack Obama has one and he doesn't. He also threw things out there like he ended 7 wars. Maybe one of them was in that mystical, magical land of Bijan that he mentioned a few weeks ago. Remember that one? Oh my God. And the trillions of dollars of investment. Our GDP is like 30 trillion. He's claiming we have more than half of that already promised to be invested in the United States. He is out of his freaking mind. Seriously, what would the reaction be if Joe Biden went up in front of the UN and did that? Tell me.
Nobody forgets the 7th of October. I went there a few days after, taking families in my hands, and we experienced all together these horrific attacks. And by the way, we lost a lot of French people in these terrorist attacks. But after almost 2 years of war, what is the result? Once again, they killed the top leaders of Hamas. It works. This is a great achievement. But at the same time, you have as many Hamas fighters as you had the first day. So it doesn't work to dismantle the Hamas. This is not the right way to proceed.
Breaking news, Arizona. The Democrats win Arizona District 7 by 70% to 27%. What? Yes. Alita Grijalva wins with over 70% of the vote, giving the Democrats 214 seats now in the House of Representatives. But more importantly, her seat, her win, will enable the Democrats now and the Republicans that have joined together for the Epstein discharge petition to gain the 218th signature needed. I presume she'll be sworn in tomorrow as soon as the election results are certified, and that will enable her to sign, if it's done tomorrow, to get the 218th signature needed to move this discharge petition forward. This is great news. It is terrible news for the Republicans. It is terrible news for Donald Trump, because they have tried everything they can do to keep these Epstein files from becoming public. This gets us one step closer to that discharge petition moving forward, and getting us one step closer to seeing the truth why the Republicans want to cover up the Epstein files and those named in it. Great news. The Democrats win Arizona 7 to give them 214 votes in the House and to gain the last needed signature to get 218 for the discharge petition. There you have it.
So Trump received unexpected news. These are disastrous because they will reduce the margin in the House and lead more towards the release of Epstein files, which he doesn't want released. So in Arizona, the Democrats won a House seat. This daughter was able to claim his father's seat. So it's amazing what's going on in our country at the moment. You saw him tweet the other day that he was giving Putin a go-ahead to continue bombing Ukraine. He's saying that America will not again be involved in the war against Ukraine. As Kamala Harris had predicted that Trump would continue sidelining our allies. And now, even Australia cancelled the contract they had with the US about the commissioning of a nuclear submarine because they were claiming that US had ceased to become a trustworthy security ally. Mm? Yes, and even saw some comments from these conservative commentators that we should stop sharing intelligence with our allies like UK because they are foreign. Foreign relations minister was a Muslim. Mm? It's very bad what's happening at the moment because we're in a crisis as a country. And as we continue losing our respect, one of the things that these countries are doing, they are not respecting us. They are fearing us because maybe of our military industry, which is the only thing remaining at the moment. We have lost dignity as a country because of this clown show which is happening at the White House.